viewers and subscribers, welcome back to the Sports Perspective TV. As always, thank you for tuning in. And if this is your first time coming across the channel, definitely hit that subscribe button. So in this video, we're going to be looking at the West Indies T20 squad. We've already looked at their strengths. So in this video, we're going to be looking at what are their weaknesses. So stick around to the end of the video as we discuss this topic. Right. So um, we've already established, or most people, in their opinion, have shared that even though the West Indies team has a strong batting lineup, their weakness, if any, will be their bowling, right? But so in this video, we're going to be looking at, yes, the bowling is a weakness, but what specifically in the bowling are the weaknesses and why is it a weakness, right? So there's no doubt that the bowling is the weakest part of the West Indies T20 squad, the West Indies T20 team. But in my opinion, why that is so is so firstly, there aren't any mystery bowlers in the West Indies lineup. It's all orthodox bowling, right? So whether it's a fast bowler or even spinners, it's orthodox spinners. So there is no bowler in the team that will make any batting team feel threatened. Not that they're not quality bowlers, because they are good bowlers. Akil Hussain is a good bowler. Gudakesh Moti is a good bowler. Shamar Joseph, Alzar Joseph. They're all they're all quality bowlers. They're all good bowlers. But there is no but you know what they're going to bring to the table, right? You know that it's going to be pace. And all of these qualities that they have, whether it's pace, changes of pace, variety, all of these qualities can allow them to take wickets. But from a batting team perspective, there is no bowler that you will say, okay, then um all right, we're going to have to bat out the overs of this particular bowler or be very cautious, when this bowler is bowling. You know, um, there's no bowler like that, so there are no mystery bowlers in this bowling lineup. And I think that's one of the biggest weaknesses of the bowling team. So because when you have like mystery bowlers, so for example Rashid Khan, who is a top quality spin bowler, he takes wickets. It like I said, it poses a certain threat to the batting team, and they have to strategize around that. But without the presence of any bowler like that, which is a definite threat, a threat as in you don't know, how they're going to bowl or even what direction their ball is going to turn in. Without the presence of that bowler in the team, it makes it a lot easier for teams to strategize when coming up against the West Indies bowling lineup. It also makes it a lot easier for teams to score, because again, like I said, there's just that predictability in terms of what you're going to get with the West Indies bowling attack, right? So then secondly, I would say, which I kind of touched on it when I made the Rashid Khan point, as far as from a spinners, none of the spinners that are in the team, have the ability to turn the ball in multiple directions, right? So, for example, I'll use Rashid Khan again as an example, who we will come up against in the group stages. He being a leg spinner, he has the ability to, turn the ball the conventional way as leg spinners do, but he's also able to bowl googlies and turn the ball the opposite direction, right? So that in itself poses a lot of challenges to any batsman, not being able to definitely say, okay, then when this bowler bowls, the ball is going to turn this way. So the lack of that in the West Indies lineup, as far as their spinners are concerned, is also a weakness in my opinion. Now Akil Hussain, we've seen where Akil Hussain, when he bowls, he doesn't necessarily turn the ball for example, into the right-handers, but he does bowl an arm ball, which from time to time, the ball will drift in towards the right-handers instead of turning away from them, or drift away from the left-handers instead of turning into them. So I definitely have to give Akil Hussein credit for that, but it's not a deliver. It's not a ball that you say, okay, then Akil Hussein can turn the ball the opposite way. It's just an arm ball that goes on with the arm, or if there's any swing, because he does bowl it seam up as well sometimes. So if there's any swing, then the ball will do a bit of, notice a bit of movement in the air, right? But it's more an arm ball where the ball just carries on in the direction of the arm, as opposed to it hitting the pitch and turning, right? So the spinners that we'll have in the team are Akil Hussein, Rastan Chase, and Gudakesh Moti, right? None of them have the ability to turn the ball in the opposite direction than their natural action, allows it to. So I think that's also a weakness in the bowling, So even if like I said, and it kind of goes back to the bowling being predictable. So even the spinners are predictable. And this is not to say they cannot take wickets and they're not quality bowlers or they won't get wickets. I'm just saying from a batting perspective, it makes it a lot easier to combat, to bat against. And because of this, I do see a lot of teams scoring a lot of runs against the West Indies team. Again, they can take wickets, and I do expect them to take wickets, but I'm just looking at it from a holistic standpoint and saying, this is a possible weakness in the bowling lineup as well. So even though we have spinners, the spinners are also predictable. And then I'll say the final weakness, or in my opinion, is just the inconsistency in the final overs, right? So whether it's from over 16 to 20, there is a lot of inconsistency there with our bowling. So typically who normally bowls in those overs are either Jason Holder, Shamar Joseph from time to time, depending on how he's bowling in the match, or Romario Shepherd. We've seen Romario Shepherd bowl in that role as well. But whichever one of them do bowl in that role, sometimes they bowl and they bowl well, but for the most part, teams have been able to score a lot of runs off the West Indies in the final overs, as well, as a result of, again, the predictability of the bowling, predictability of the bowlers, and it's cricket. There will be times where batsmen play brilliant shots, and you bowl a good ball and the batsmen are still able to get it to the boundary. But the bowling lineup, as it is, I've Shamar Joseph might be a difference maker in this World Cup now, even though we haven't seen him in too many T20 games, but hopefully he can come in and, provide something different if they decide to use him in those final overs. But of the bowlers that we've seen so far, that's definitely something that I've noticed, just their inability to remain consistent in the final overs. And it's not what I'll say, because for example, Jashpreet Bumrah, who plays for India, and he is brilliant in those overs. So it's not, if you're a pace bowler, you cannot bowl well in the final overs. It's just I guess you can say quality, right? Because Jashpreet Bumrah is a quality bowler. A Trent Bolt for New Zealand is a quality bowler who will also come up against in the group stages. Those bowlers are bowlers who we see do it from time to time, whether they're bowling at the top of the innings or in the back end of the innings. They are able to get wickets, and not only get wickets, but also restrict opposing batting lineups in those phases of the game. So it can be done, but our bowlers have not been able to do it on a consistent basis, on a regular basis, in the matches that we've seen, especially against top quality opponents. So I think this will be, the biggest challenge, one of the biggest challenges for the West Indies bowling lineup again, in this T20 World Cup. Definitely hoping that they are able to prove me wrong and perform well in these areas, but just doing an analysis of what I've seen so far and their performances in recent T20 matches, I would say, these are some of the areas that, you know, the bowling will struggle or will be the main things that cause the bowling to struggle in this T20 World Cup. So again, just to recap, the bowling is the weakest point of the team, yes, but so firstly, because there are no bowlers that provide any sort of mystery or any threat that will make a batting lineup, you know, change their strategies towards how they approach the game. You know, the spinners, you know, all the spinners only turn the ball in the typical direction. So that's also a weakness. And thirdly, their bowling in the final overs has been very inconsistent. So these are the weaknesses that I would say are of the West Indies team. So as usual, thank you for tuning in, and definitely share your thoughts in the comment section.